Yo, what's good, bro? I'm Myron, and this is my complete but simplified guide on how you can build lean muscle in these exact 5 ways. It's not going to waste your time, there's not going to be any shitty clickbait advice, and it's going to give you the best bang for your buck if you listen carefully. Yes, there are probably more effective guides out there that will give you better results, but they either cost more money or take up too much of your time, which you don't have either of. For pretty much my whole life, I've had a skinny physique. This was me at 15, this was me at 18, and this was me literally 4 months ago. So yeah, you get the gist. Not exactly the body of a Greek god. No wonder my girl left me. Because of these reasons, after 25 years on this planet, I finally decided to get my shit together and try to completely transform myself into a T-34 tank. So if you listen carefully, bro, this might just be the most value-packed 19 minutes of your entire life, because I'm going to teach you everything I've learned over the last few months and what you need to know about transforming yourself from a muscleless wet noodle to an absolute Chad in just 3 months. First of all, here's a list of all the assets you're going to need to make this whole process so much easier and more sustainable for you. Don't ask questions, bro. Just pause the video, buy these things, and you'll soon learn why you need them as the video goes on. Secondly, let's talk about food. This is the most important part of the video without a doubt, so I seriously suggest making some notes. Now, you might think that you're already eating the right amount of calories, or you might think that no matter what you eat, you personally just can't build muscle. These are both misguided beliefs. It is a scientific fact that if you eat healthy food and enough of it, you will build muscle. And if you continue to disagree with me, bro, I will personally drop kick you. The food you eat and how much of it you eat will have a direct impact on the way that you look. But the actual figures are different for everyone depending on genetics. So for example, when I first started this journey, I began by eating 3,300 calories per day with clean foods. Now initially this worked very well. However, as my metabolism improved and as I got more muscular, I had to slowly increase my calorie intake each week, taking me up to my current intake, which is 3,900 calories a day. Now this might sound like a lot, and at first, I can't lie, bro, I thought that eating this much food was going to make me fat. But when you're training consistently and frequently tearing your muscles apart, your muscles will literally feed themselves on the food you eat, meaning you won't get fat, but instead grow your muscles. Now, as you can imagine, trying to eat 4,000 calories per day can seem pretty daunting, especially when you do it only with clean foods that are actually healthy for you. But the thing is, right, it's supposed to be difficult. You need to do something you've never done if you want to have something that you've never had. So with that in mind, what are the foods that you should be eating? Now be aware, the list that I'm about to give you does not sound very exciting, but without a doubt, it is the healthiest diet that you can have as a man, because it doesn't have any of the shitty chemicals or ingredients added to it that completely destroy your gut biome and testosterone levels like most convenience foods do. So here it is. So straight away you're probably thinking, well, how the hell do I actually turn this food list into actual meals that I can eat? And I get it, it's bloody confusing and it will take a lot of time to plan out, which is why I've made you a diet plan for free that you can get by clicking the first link in the description. This is not only going to save you at least a month of your time, but also hundreds of pounds in shopping per month. Basically, in short, the whole idea of this food list is that you just mix and match all of the different foods that are on there. What you eat doesn't have to be an official meal name for it to be effective. So for example, I currently eat 4 meals a day, with each meal being approximately 1,000 calories each. Then, within these meals, I will ensure I get all my macronutrients by having at least 1 protein source, 1 carbohydrate source, and 1 fat source. So for example, 1 meal during the day for me might be sweet potatoes, chicken, and Brazil nuts. Another might be brown rice, eggs, and avocado. This ensures that I get enough protein regularly inserted into my body to activate muscle protein synthesis whilst filling up the rest of my calorie goal with other macronutrients in the healthiest way possible. If you've never heard of protein synthesis, by the way, just know that it's the body's natural process of turning food into muscle. Now, to know how much you personally need to eat, you need to be using the MyFitnessPal app, where you can enter your current body measurements and goals. This app will literally tell you how many calories and how many of each macro you need to be eating to ensure you reach that goal. And trust me, it is very accurate. Once you know what your goals are, you should start eating the food from the food list that I literally just gave you, and make sure that you consistently track the food that you're eating using the app every single day. You'll even have to measure things like how much oil that you're using on your food and stuff like that. Now, a lot of people are going to tell you that this is unnecessary and this is obsessive and all that shit. But the thing is, bro, until you start to get an understanding of how many calories and what type of nutrients are in the foods that you're eating, you will not know how to maximize muscle growth without gaining too much fat alongside it. Once you start to get familiar with the numbers though, like I am, you probably won't need to use the app anymore. In addition to the MyFitnessPal app, you will step on the body scales first thing every single morning after you've been to the toilet, but before you consume any water or food. After doing this for about a week or so, you will analyze the data and look at the graph on the Scales app to confirm if you've been eating enough or not. If the graph is just sort of stagnant and you haven't gained any weight or muscle, I'd suggest adding another 200 calories to your diet and then testing that for a week as well. If you keep doing this, you'll eventually find the point where your body gains weight and muscle at the perfect rate. One thing that I must input here is that it's extremely important that you do not get caught up in the day-to-day figures that your weight shows on the scales. So for example, I could step on the scales tomorrow morning and I could weigh 80 kilograms, and then the next day I could literally weigh 79 kilograms. Now at this point, it's very, very natural to think that, I've lost a whole kilogram of muscle overnight. But the thing is, it's not that simple, bro. You see, our weight can fluctuate so much. It can depend on how much we slept the night before, it can depend on how much water is in our body, and so many other things. So the most important thing to look at here is the long-term growth overall. So if you look at my graph, you can literally see how it goes up slowly over time, which is exactly what you want to be seeing. Step 3, your dream body. Before I move on to talking about the specific exercises that you want to be doing in the gym, let's talk about your dream body. For you to get the most value out of this video, it is extremely important that you and I are on the exact same page. I need you to understand that there are two different types of people that go to the gym. Person A is the type of person that goes to the gym purely to get stronger. Person B, on the other hand, is the type of person that goes to the gym purely to look good. If you are watching this video, I am assuming that you are person B. Realistically, who cares how much you can bench, bro?
Whoa, I can bench 150 kg. How much can you bench, bro?
At the end of the day, you just want a body that looks good so that you can probably increase your chances of attracting girls. And there's nothing wrong with saying that, bro. But let's at least both agree that you are person B and you want to get an attractive body. If you're still not sure, then ask yourself this question. Would you rather have a body like Eddie Hall or a body like Mark Wahlberg? If the answer is Mark Wahlberg, then good. We're seeing eye to eye. The reason for why I needed to clear that up is because both of these goals have completely different exercise paths. To train for strength like Eddie Hall, you'd need to lift heavy weights with a low amount of reps. And to train for aesthetics, you need to lift lighter weight with a higher amount of reps to achieve something called muscle hypertrophy. This is the process that tears the muscles and increases something that we call metabolic stress to enhance muscle growth and improve our aesthetic appearance. Reps are the amount of times that you do an exercise, so 8 push-ups is 8 reps, and sets are the amount of times you do that collection of reps. Now, generally speaking, reps are quite forgiving, meaning that it doesn't matter too much how many reps you are doing. But as you are wanting to create muscle hypertrophy, you want to be hitting at least the 8 to 15 rep range for 3 sets for each exercise. And I'll get into that a little bit more in a second. Step 4, the only exercises you need. There are 2 types of exercises that you can do at the gym. These are compound exercises and isolation exercises. Compound exercises target multiple muscles at one time, whereas isolation exercises target just one muscle at a time. For example, regular pull-ups are considered compound exercises because they target more than one muscle at a time, like these, whereas a bicep curl, on the other hand, is considered an isolation exercise because it only targets one muscle, the bicep. Now, as the purpose of this guide is to be easy and sustainable, I suggest that you focus on doing compound exercises as much as possible to target as many muscles as possible. To do this, here are some of the compound exercises that I would recommend that you fit into your weekly routine to get you looking like person B as much as possible. Now, whether you choose to split these exercises over the course of 3 days or 6 days is entirely up to you. But personally, I split them up over the course of 5 days because I just find that that works for my personal life schedule at the moment, and I split them up exactly like this. If these were the only exercises you did alongside eating the food that I've recommended, you would definitely make some noticeable gains. However, if you have some particular areas of your body you want to improve more than others like I do, that's when you should start to throw in some additional isolation exercises to target those muscles even more. A workout routine like this now covers a wide range of muscle groups and hits those muscle groups at least twice a week, which will help you achieve your goal of looking like a Chad. By the way, if you're not sure what any of these exercises are or how to do them with proper technique, I would seriously recommend repeatedly watching tutorials on YouTube. Some people I love to watch and learn a lot from are the science-based YouTubers like Jeff Nippard and Jeremy Ethier. Now let me go over a few questions that you might have about any of this. Firstly, how much rest time should you have in between each set? Well, a general rule of thumb is about 2 minutes, but as we are trying to maximize muscle growth in the quickest and most sustainable way possible, we're going to do something really clever here, which is actually going to allow us to cut the amount of time that we're spending in the gym by half. Basically, instead of waiting around for the next set and wasting time, you're actually going to do another exercise from that same session list that targets an opposing muscle group to the one that you've just trained. This is what we call a superset. And honestly, mate, this has cut my gym time down from literally 2.5 hours to just an hour. So now my training sessions look like this. No more piss-assing around, bro. Progressive overload. This is a very important process that not only makes us stronger, but makes our muscles bigger. It essentially means that for every single exercise that you do, you need to gradually make that exercise harder each time you return back to the gym to train that particular muscle group. If you don't, then you won't grow. And one of the ways that you can do this is by making sure that you do more reps than the previous time you worked on that exercise. By this is what I mean. Let's say in your first session you bench pressed 10 kg for 15 reps in set 1, 14 times in set 2, and 13 times in set 3. The next time you'd come in and repeat that exact same exercise, you try to make sure that you got more reps than what you achieved in the last session. So this time, because your muscles have had time to recover and get stronger, you might find that you'll go in to do the session and you'll be able to lift 10 kg for 15 reps in every single set that you do. This is a clear sign of progressive overload. And now that you've hit 15 reps for each set in that particular exercise, which is pretty much the max range for achieving muscle hypertrophy, the next time you come in and do that exercise again, only then will you increase the weight that you're lifting. So at that point, you might lift 12 kg, but as it's a heavier weight, you can only do 10 reps, which is absolutely fine. But eventually, if you keep repeating this cycle, you will be able to lift that weight for 15 reps for each set as well. And then you'll up the weight again, etc., etc. Keeping track. Now, obviously, if you don't write all this information down, it's going to be quite difficult to keep track of. So here's what you're going to do. You're going to open up your phone and then you're going to head to your notes app. Then you're going to make a separate notes document for each session that you'll have across the week. So you'll have a document for session 1, one for session 2, and one for session 3. And in each session, you're going to write down all of the different exercises that you're going to do for that day. And below each exercise, you're going to write set 1, set 2, and set 3. Now, when you go to the gym and you actually do those exercises, you'll write in exactly how many reps you got for each set and the weight that you lifted. So for set 1 on incline dumbbell press, you might have lifted 11 reps of 12 kg. For set 2, you might have lifted this, and for set 3, this. Now, when you do this same exercise again in a future session, your aim is going to be to either match the amount of reps you got in the previous session or get more reps than what you got in the previous session. So let's say this time you got 13 reps of 12 kg in set 1. What you'll do is erase the 11 reps from the previous session and replace it with the 13. Doing this across all of your sets and exercises is going to ensure that you've always got an up-to-date goal to beat, ensuring that you are always progressively overloading. Do not work till failure. This next point is so important, mate, yet there's hardly any information out there about it, and that is that you should not be working till failure, regardless of what these stone cold roid heads keep telling you. It just doesn't make any sense, bro, and it's not necessary, at least not yet. Just imagine you had 6 months to train for a marathon. Do you think it would be wise on day 1 to just put on your running shoes and try and run 15 miles? Obviously not. If you did that, you'd most likely injure yourself or fatigue yourself so much that you probably wouldn't be able to run again for another 2 weeks. So instead, you have to build up your tolerance in a way that's manageable. So on day 1, you might only run 1 mile, and then you'd slowly build up your strength and your fitness levels over the coming months. Well, the same applies for the gym, and we use a term called reps in reserve, or RIR for short, which essentially means that when you're starting out, for each set that you do, you will stop when you think you have 4 reps left in the tank. So let's say you're on incline press, you're lifting 12 kg and you're on, let's say, your 11th rep, and you think you have about 4 reps left in the tank. You think you could get to 15, right? That's when you stop. You stop at 11 reps. This is going to allow you to get muscle growth without fatiguing yourself too quickly, because when you fatigue yourself, you're not going to be able to train properly, and that's completely useless for everyone. Now, for every 2 weeks that you go to the gym, you're going to decrease that reps in reserve number by 1. So in the beginning of week 3, you'll be on 3 RIR. And then in the beginning of week 5, you'll be on 2 RIR, until eventually you'll be working at failure. When you get to that point, you probably will start to fatigue, and you might notice yourself not getting any stronger. That will be the point where you do a deload week and allow yourself to recover properly. Now, during this deload week, you'll lift around 50% of your usual training weight, and you'll do around half of the reps for each set that you do. After the deload week, you'll start the cycle all over again and go back to 4 RIR. Rest days. It is very important to ensure that you're having rest days between your sessions to ensure that you grow as efficiently as possible. My current workload is very different to how I see other people doing it online, but it works very well for me. On one day, I'll do session 1, then the day after that, I'll do session 2, then I'll have a rest day, then it will be session 3, then session 4, then another rest day, then session 5, then a rest day, and then we're back to session 1 again, and I'll just cycle through that every single time. Missing a session. If you miss a session, you don't wait to do it again next week. You literally do it the next time you go into the gym. Life often gets in the way, bro, and there's not really anything that we can do about that. Because of this, your sessions should not have specific days that they'll stick to forever. You should literally just cycle through the sessions in order on repeat. This ensures that you are hitting all of your muscles as frequently as possible. Don't forget to get your free diet plan from the description below. Believe you can, and you're more than halfway there. A regular pull-up is considered for fuck's sake. Just talk like a fucking normal person.